Shall we dance? This is what I would have liked to say quite a few times during retreat, but probably not for the reasons that you're thinking of. And this image came to mind when I was working on a particular issue, and I found it quite helpful, so I thought I would share it and see if it works. So during the 3 months of the retreat, we try and hold silence as best as we can. And to be honest, this year for me wasn't quite as silent as I would have liked, or due to various reasons. But nonetheless, there's still a lot of silence compared to the pace that we usually go to whilst we're in our active season, and the mind does get a lot quieter. It gets more sensitive, and words seem to have a lot more impact in that state of mind. So kind, sweet, sincere, kind, sweet words do seem to go in and touch the heart a little bit more. And people's honesty and transparency during the morning motivations or other moments of connection that we have do seem to bring about some more compassion, empathy, and understanding in this slower pace, a more receptive mind state. And equally, divisive, harsh, untimely, and uncooperative words seem to be more of a slap in the face. And this is not just speaking in terms of me receiving the words, but also me giving them, fortunately. And I expressed to you that during some of the go-arounds that we had, that at certain points during the retreat, I felt like a bull in a china shop in terms of just this energy that I had that was bumping up against other people's energies, and it almost felt like the china falling off the walls and hitting the ground, and the impact was just like tangible and quite unpleasant. And so we affect each other with our words, our attitudes, our moods. And this is quite a tangible example of our interdependence that the Buddha taught repeatedly and is of such importance. And so there are a few incidents that stood out to me during retreat that were key learning points about how I do want to be and how I don't want to be in terms of actions of body, speech, and mind, in terms of my practice of the Buddha Dharma. And so one morning, I felt impelled to ask another resident something about some topic. So I approached that person and asked if I could have a few minutes. And they said yes, so all was going quite well. But before I could speak about the topic that I had asked to requested to speak about, they started to talk to me about the list of things that they had in their mind about that they wanted to talk to me about. And looking back is just hilarious because I could just see me shut down. My mind stopped listening. I was having a mental and almost physical rejection because the way that I had expected things to go was not happening. And I wasn't being heard. I was not being seen. And the conversation from there went fine. There was no argument or anything, but it was quite an unpleasant experience. I walked away kind of wishing I hadn't gone there. And I didn't feel connection or kindness, or from my part as well, like I wasn't being kind in how I was reacting to that person. I wasn't open to receive them. And luckily, with the mind training teachings that we get here and that Venerable emphasizes so much, I was able to very quickly go, how often do I do this to others? In that when say someone comes to me, that I prioritize my own agenda and trump that over what that person has come to me for. And so I started looking, and it became quite painful because I could just see this repeated incidences of where that bull in the china shop, where my energy and others would just clash against each other as I approached to communicate. And so in the urgency of needing to ask a question or to communicate a message to someone and to do it in a private space so that we weren't actively breaking silence, and that person that I never see, I had to grab them when I could, not physically, but with my words, like, we have to talk about this now. I got to see on numerous occasions how people would recoil from that, and physically move away, start frowning. I had trouble hearing what I had to say because this surprise attack on them. And so then I had to bring it to the cushion because this is not how I want to be. It's not pleasant for me, it's not pleasant for them, and it doesn't actually achieve the desired goal of communication, connection, working towards shared goals. And so as Venerable Children has often said, role play. If things aren't going well, look on the cushion, like, what would happen if I did this differently? And to be honest, I haven't really done that too much, but in taking advantage of the 5 or so sessions a day, I just sat with it and explored. And this is where the idea of dancing came to mind, particular ballroom dancing, because they're the two people, they're moving gracefully, they're in sync, and there's an ease and a beauty there. And for me, this visualization had a number of things that were, it encapsulates a number of things that are missing from those other painful interactions that I was having. And the first is warmth and joy. It's not going to be too pleasant if you try and dance with someone and you don't want to meet them, you don't want to connect, and you're not really seeing them as another human being that's wanting happiness and not want to suffer. So this image of dancing with someone has that warmth and joy. And the second is cooperation. So often sometimes when you dance, someone leads. But there's a shared understanding around that, but if someone's trying to come in and force a direction in terms of where the dance is going, it's not gonna look so pretty, and it's not gonna be too nice. And the third is to meet the other person where they are. Have they broken their ankle? They can't do this move anymore, or is there something weighing on their mind that they need to talk about first, or they can't hear that right now because of where they are? And so can I be open enough to not push my agenda and just accept that now's not the right time? I think also there's just an element of fun and curiosity. And I'm not a dancer. I'm quite clumsy. I don't feel graceful in that way. It was never something that I did. But I appreciate that for others, dancing is very enjoyable. And when people are skilled, it's very beautiful to watch. And so to translate this feeling of beauty and fun and joy into conversations, I was just thinking that how wonderful it would be to have the sentiment of what joy can I share here with this person. This is a precious human being, sentient being, on which all my happiness depends, in terms of without them I can't achieve enlightenment. So what joy can I bring them right now? How can I connect? So I have this to be a practice of mine, to bring some transformation around about how I use my speech. And in Precious Garland, I couldn't find the exact verse. I think the way that I've translated it into my own words. But he emphasizes the importance of truthfulness. And it's not just how we usually conceive of truth in terms of it being true, but there's other aspects of it being useful or beneficial to the person that we speak to, of it being timely, and of it coming from a kind and compassionate motivation. And I find these 4 elements very helpful to reflect on repeatedly, and I often try to bring it to mind after we bless our speech in the morning, to try and focus about I'm going to be speaking today and how do I want to do it. So I sincerely apologize to all those who have been caught in an energetic battle of untimely, unkind, or unhelpful speech, and I hope that from now on we can start to dance and connect on a level of speech that brings joy, and may it be a cause of our full awakening.